Okay, I'm working on my 2005 Mitsubishi Endeavor, and you know what? I apologize to anyone who might be watching this because I really should have started this video before I started taking this apart, but I just have struggled so much to understand this, and now I do. So I thought I better make a video so that others out there, if you, like I said, if you have a 2005 Mitsubishi and if one of your spark plugs goes out, or if your valve gasket goes out, valve cover gasket, and if your oil where the spark plugs are, if that little cylinder is filled up with oil, that means your gasket right here, your valve cover gasket, has gone bad. And so anyway, I just wanted to help you, just because I searched desperately and there was nothing out there. So one thing, before you even start doing this, go to Home Depot and get yourself one of these paint pens. Take pictures as you go along. Make sure you label those hoses right over there before you take off this thing as part of your air filter. Oh, and another trick, for some reason, if you pull off that side first, and then that side comes off easier for some reason, and then get this thing out of your way. Move your brake fluid thing. There are just 2 bolts right there. Move it out of your way. It'll be easier for you. Then come over here, and these 4 bolts right here, you got to pull these 4 bolts out completely so that you can pull off this plenum or intake manifold. You'll notice that it's kind of hard to see, but there's a bolt right there and there's a bolt right there. Loosen those. Don't pull them out, but loosen them. And I kid you not, if you don't loosen those, you will not be able to get this thing back on, because the screws on the back of it that hold it in place, or the bolts, don't line up perfectly, and you need a little bit of movement there. And by loosening those, that is the trick to getting this thing back on. Okay, so next step, obviously this thing, that screw right here was for this, so pull that off. Another trick I've learned too, and I'm not a mechanic, but by trade I've just messed around with a lot of this stuff. Always put your bolts back whenever you can. Put them back where they go. And another thing, don't leave your bolts up here, or you'll learn the hard way. See what I did right there? Don't do that. You can easily bump them and then they fall down into the motor and you can't find them. So that's another thing. You'll notice all these wiring harnesses, they just have these little clips. See that right there? It's actually not even a clip, but it just slides down into there. So just grab a pair of pliers to pull that out. And then there's one, well, that one is just held in place with that. And then this one, with that. And then on the side here, there are a couple more. And you just want to pull them out. Kind of hard to see here, but pull this whole assembly out. And you know what? I should grab my little light. Hold on. Okay, so see that little clip right there? There it is again, that little tab. So that obviously slides down in there. So you want to pull that out and pull this side out too, right? And right there is the other clip. Notice down there, and like I said, I should have started filming this earlier, but unscrew that so that this cable harness right there will come off. And then put the screw back in. And then this whole thing lifts up, and then you pull it off and get it out of your way. This piece right here, take those 2 screws out. See those 2? And they're number 8, by the way, metric. Take those screws out, and then this thing is kind of hard to get out. Just pry it out with a screwdriver, 2 screwdrivers, 1 on each side. Be gentle with it though, and you can see that it just kind of plunges back in when you're ready to put it back together. So get that out of your face. Okay, this stuff is out of the way. Obviously, you need to pull off these bolts right here. And I think, you know what? Let me just tell you what size they are, so you don't have to mess around with them. They're all this size right here. I think it's 12. Yeah, it is. It's 12. So it's 12, and you'll obviously need an extension, to get to these bolts right here around the plenum. So right there. So there's one right there, and there's one right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there are 2 bolts on the back of this, which are the hardest part to get to. So, okay, so now the next step to doing this is, this is a pain in the butt, and it's going to be hard for me to even explain this because you can't see. But before you do anything, there's another wiring harness right here, and it has clips on the back of here. So can you see this wire? There's a clip or a little place for it right here and right here. And this is the deal. You'll need a little baby ratchet like this. And again, you'll use size 12. And if you put your hand right back, okay, look at this. Put your hand right to the right of that thing and go straight down. You'll feel a bracket, and you'll feel a number 12 bolt. Okay? As in this baby right here. Okay? And so you need to loosen that. Be extremely careful though. You have to hang on to that thing as you loosen it, because you'll drop it down in the motor and then it's gone. But let me tell you this, since I've already been through this and I already lost a couple of bolts, you can go to Fastenal, your local Fastenal, and get this bolt. Make sure if you do lose the original that you get a lock washer on there. Otherwise that plenum will jiggle too much and eventually crack itself. So you'll get this bolt and that washer right there. And so the information on the bolt is, can you see that? So that might be enough for you to get it from Fastenal. And maybe, and you know what, I hate to say this, these are the original bolts for the intake manifold or the plenum, and I actually lost a couple of those too. And here are the replacements. And so, and they have lock washers on them as well. And I also got them from Fastenal. Maybe since I've got this stuff right here, I should just show you. So if you lose the main ones, if you lose the main bolts, well, let's start with this. Let's start with the small bolts. Okay, these are the small bolts, and there's all the information right there from Fastenal. And this, so if you end up dropping those bolts, that there are 2 of them that go behind that intake manifold. These are the replacement ones from Fastenal. Okay, these are the replacement lock washers right here from Fastenal. Right there. Okay. All right. Next thing, these right here, and I used the bigger ones. Let's see, but you know what? These will do this fine too. These, actually, I used slightly bigger, a tiny bit bigger than these, and I don't know where the package is. Maybe it's right here. Let me look. No, that's not. 8.8, 125 by 4. Oh, yes, it is. Okay, if you lose the plenum or the intake manifold bolts, those big ones that I just showed you, let me go over here again. And the ones that go in there, if you lose those, because they're easy to drop down in the motor, that's the replacement one. And here is the package from Fastenal for that bolt right there, which works perfectly for the intake manifold. This is the washer that works with it. And these don't use lock washers. These are just regular flat washers. Okay? So I'm just giving you that just in case you mess up like I did and lose those bolts, because they're super hard to find once they fall down in the motor. Okay, next step. This is a royal pain in the butt right here. I'm telling you, royal pain. Make sure you do everything that I said over here. Get that crap out of your way, or it'll end up cutting your arms and fingers and stuff. Another thing too is that I give myself plenty of light. I bought myself a little step ladder from Home Depot. It just makes it easy to stand on that bottom step because the Endeavor is just high enough that it makes you uncomfortable. And the other thing, I stole this blanket. This makes my wife mad, but it's so much easier to stand right there and then bend over into the motor, because you've got to get all the way back in there, and I'm telling you, it's tough. It's really tough. Notice there's more area right here. That's nice for your left arm, and over there, that's for your right arm. So what we have to do, let me see if I can show you. Can you see? Okay, let me see if I can get my phone in there. Okay. You got to take off that electrical connection right there, and then this whole thing right there, it's like a little air intake manifold thing. So make sure you don't mess up these hoses. I would label them with that white marker. You have to pull these hoses off so that you can get to two tiny little screws that are on the back of this. And I can't show you, you're just going to have to put your hand back there and unscrew them. And I believe that they are size, I'm pretty certain that they are size 10. And you're going to need your little baby ratchet again to get to those. And once again, be very careful. It is so easy to drop them because there's no room back there. It's really hard to get to those. That's the hardest part of this whole operation. So get to those and pull them off. Okay, and you know what? I probably better stop this video and start another video because we're already at 10 minutes.